people who's calling my name, but what do they want? So,
using these amphibious vehicles, we take visitors to Boston on a historic tour of the city. We cover all the major historic sites, and when we get to our ramp next to the Charles River, then we coast down the ramp into the water, engage the propeller, and head up the river.
Here we go, we're going to sound the horn here.
We started in 1994 with 4 ducks and 4 conductors. Today we have 25 ducks and almost 50 conductors.
So, Mummy and my 3 sisters, they told me I had to get a job, so here I am showing you around Boston. But if it wasn't for this tour, I wouldn't speak to you people at all. These are jokes, folks. Try and stay with me on this, all right?
It's not easy becoming a conductor. A conductor needs a merchant marine license, he needs a commercial driving license with a passenger endorsement, he needs a City of Boston sightseeing license and a Cambridge sightseeing license, and he also needs something new called a Transportation Workers Information Card. So our conductors are well licensed.
And why do they call it the Back Bay? It was the bay in back of the Charles River. This was 455 acres of landfill. That's what it is.
We talk about how to put together a narration, how to develop a character, and we learn history. Lots of history. And after our conductors have all their licenses in order, after they've studied the history, after they've worked on putting together a narration, we actually let them drive the tour route, practicing their narration. And they'll just do that narration over and over and over and over again until they're ready to take the public out. There are about 600,000 people living here, and only 50 of them can drive a duck.
Name's Dave, working here at Duck Tours in the D-Wag, which is short for the Duck Wagon, and we basically cater to all your duck needs. Our biggest seller is definitely these duck lips over here. They make a sound like this. You know, practice makes perfect, lots to do. Everything else from dog tags, or as we call them, duck tags, to keychains, pins, hats, duck ponchos, duck shirts. Basically every accessory you could possibly think of just to make your duck tour all the more complete. You know, our conductors, they encourage quacking on our tours, so these lips are definitely a must-have. And other than that, my job really is basically just to help anyone answer any questions and just make sure their experience is a good one.
When we started in 1994, we had 4 conductors and 4 ducks. This is Captain Courageous, Captain Covert, Commander Swampscott, that's me, and Jumpin' Jim Ton-o-Bricks. This is the Commander Swampscott hat. And this is actually the G.I. Joe Commander Swampscott action figure. Commander Swampscott is a member of the Royal American Expedition Service. The Royal American Expedition Service goes places the National Geographic Society hasn't even heard of yet. About 3 years ago, Commander Swampscott was captured by headhunters on the island of Boropango, and before he could escape, they shrank his head. Well, now as you can see, my head has returned to its normal size. Unfortunately, my brain is still the size of a golf ball.
I'm Jason the Argonaut, and I just came back from my epic journey to find the Golden Fleece. And the deal was I get the Golden Fleece, bring it back to the king, and the king would hand his daughter's hand in marriage to me.
Jason the Argonaut. You probably know Jason's story. Well, somehow or another he ended up in the Charles River, where he was rescued by a duck. from Boston Duck Tours, and now he's driving for us.
The first thing they tell you in training is, well, not the people training you, is that get an outfit that is comfortable during the summer. And I can't think anything more comfortable than a tunic and a laurel. So I kind of developed the character around the comfort zone. It just came to me one night that I should take advantage of my Greek roots and do Jason the Argonaut. Ένα, δύο, τρία, ένα, δύο, τρία, ένα, δύο, τρία και το πάμε κάτω στο ποτάμι. Λοιπόν, είναι έτοιμοι για τη εξοχή. Initially, the shock of having someone come up and doing a rowing demonstration at the very beginning of the tour kind of ease people to not expect to have it's not going to be a run-of-the-mill tour. It's going to be something a lot different than they've ever experienced. And I like going into the tour with that kind of attitude. It kind of brings in people exactly where I want them.
Okay, I'm going to use this translation device developed at MIT to help me translate Greek into Bostonian. Bostonian's very similar to English. You might understand most of what I'm saying. All right, here we go. Pizza, pizza.
Quack, quack.
Oh, wow. Is this a chorus group? Oh, this is band camp. All right, band campers, let's get going. All right.
Along the way, they give us, first thing off, as soon as you're hired, they're given a book about this thick that is just pure history, which we are supposed to learn the whole thing. We use that as the basis for developing our narration. So when we are put into circumstances where there is a lot of traffic, we're able to entertain the guests with some factual information and kind of keep the tour going.
All right, guys, now this is the back bay. This is all water one time. From that church.
Unfortunately, for many kids, history is very, very boring. So we try to make it somewhat entertaining. We tell the history of Boston, Boston's role in the American Revolution, Boston's role in the abolitionist movement in the years before the American Revolution. So we have a very rich history. We think it's very important for kids to appreciate that. If you can throw in a few interesting facts along with the core history, people will listen and they'll enjoy it more. For example, Boston, being a very old city, has a number of firsts. A lot of things happened here first in our nation's history. For example, we had the first chocolate factory in the country. We also had the first jelly bean factory. The telephone was invented here. We had the first automobile in the country. You know, everyone thinks Henry Ford invented the automobile. Well, that's not true. Or we might ask someone, you know, what's the official beverage? And people will say, oh, tea. They're thinking of the Boston Tea Party. Or they might say beer, thinking of Sam Adams beer. But in fact, the official beverage of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is cranberry juice. We're noted for our cranberry bogs down on the Cape. So it's that kind of stuff, when you can mix that up with the hardcore history, that gets people kind of interested. The DUKWs were designed in 1942. About 21,000 of them were built during World War II. On land, they could do about 45 miles an hour, and in the water, they could do 6 miles per hour.
Designated DUKW, but called the Duck, the hybrid vehicle could carry supplies inland like a landing craft. But once it reached the beach, it could continue rolling inland and deliver its load wherever it was needed.
These are soldiers crossing the Rhine River in a DUKW. Oh, here's a DUKW coming out of the water and coming ashore.
Drivers were part soldiers, part sailors.
That's why we have Boston Duck Tours today. You know, we've managed to clean up the Charles River significantly over the years, and there are a lot of birds and fish in the river now that weren't there a few years ago. A lot of ducks. So when we're out on the river, we like to wave to our little duck friends. Sometimes we quack, sometimes they quack back. There are also ducks in the public garden, in the pond, and they're very friendly. They usually wade up to the shoreline and wave as we go by and go quack, quack.
Esplanade, and the Esplanade was donated by the widow of James Kevin Storrow. She was a bit ahead of her time.
Over the years, the industries and municipalities along the Charles River were discharging a lot of waste into the river, and so over the years it became very polluted. Well, we've stopped doing that now, and we're cleaning the river up, and we've made great progress. So today we have ducks, geese, cormorants in the Charles River. We have several species of fish in the Charles River, and the water is actually clean enough to swim in. I have seen a tremendous improvement in the water quality in both Boston Harbor and in the Charles River.
I got hatched about this time last year, when I started doing my tours. I never thought of myself being in this position because I am terribly shy in front of crowds, or I was, and I'm not that good of a speaker, or at least I was. And I was really nervous when they told me I had to get up in front of a group of people and entertain them for an hour and a half. And it took me a while, and I broke out a shell. I went into my character. And how's the water today?
Fantastic. 10% wetter than yesterday.
Good. Should be extra slippery.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right.
That's a serious piece of machinery.
Okay, folks. Let's get our bathing suits on. Let's get going.
Quack, quack.
The most challenging part of the job is really maintaining your composure throughout a hot summer day where you have been working 4 days in a row and you're on your fourth day. It's been 90 degrees out, and there's traffic, there's Red Sox traffic, there's Bruins traffic, there's Celtics traffic, and you're trying to get through it. It's physically a very exhausting job, and also a very mentally exhausting job. All right, it's break time. Looking over here. Pretty good, huh? You get that one-on-one interaction with a lot of people even before or after the tour. And certainly entertaining people. You do get a rush when you're able to perform. Then they are grateful towards you at the end. And on top of that, the foremost, I want them to have a happy experience. When they go back home, they can reflect onto Boston, maybe reflect on Boston Duck Tour specifically, and have a good feeling about the city, and want to come and visit again, and maybe tell a few friends, and maybe ask for me specifically for a tour.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.